How's it going, everybody? Texas Man here. I hope you guys are all having a fabulous day. Please give this video a thumbs up if you guys really enjoy it. Subscribe, of course, if you guys have not already. Also, do me the biggest favor of all, hit that bell notification button so you guys don't miss out on future videos or streams here on my channel. And in this video, we're going to be talking about the TV show Tron Uprising Season 1. And we're going to be discussing whether or not this is one of the best, if not the best, animated show ever. And as always, we're going to be talking about positives and negatives, and I'll give you guys my final review score at the end. And I am extremely geeked out. I'm extremely excited. Tron is one of those franchises that I have always loved since I was a kid. I've always loved Tron since I'm a kid. Always have, always will. At the time of recording this video, I am 26 years old, and I still love Tron. I love plugging in the original Tron and watching it. I love plugging in Tron Legacy, watching it. And unfortunately, I never actually had the chance to watch Tron Uprising because it was locked behind Disney XD. And for those of you guys do not know, when this show was airing on Disney XD, you had to pay for Disney XD, and it was not cheap. Now, we're kind of accustomed to paying for all these streaming services, whether it be Netflix, Hulu, Amazon, all these other things, Disney Plus. We've become accustomed to it. Well, Disney XD tried to experiment with that, and it didn't really go so well for the first couple of years. And because of that, Tron Uprising unfortunately suffered. And because of that, the show hasn't gotten any more seasons, even though the show has a big cliffhanger ending. It doesn't conclude a lot of story arcs and plot lines. And I kind of wish we can get a season 2. I know for a fact that there are talks at Disney for a season 2, hopefully coming in a year or two. And I really hope so because I had a blast, guys, watching this show. I really was kind of skeptical about the show because I've heard mixed things about it. A lot of people said, oh, it's an amazing show. It really helps expand and grow the Tron universe. And if you like Tron and Tron Legacy, you'll like the show. Then there's some other people like, oh, it's an animated show for Tron. Like, Tron's already CGI and animated, and they just made it look worse. And I'm like, okay, well, it's on Disney Plus. So if you have Disney Plus, watch it. Watch this show, guys, if you have Disney Plus. You won't be disappointed. This has 19 episodes that are on average about 22 to 30 minutes long, and it just expands and explodes and explores a lot more of the Tron universe that the films made the groundwork for. The films really did a great job of laying the groundwork and the foundation for a show like this to explode and explore more of the Tron universe. This is one of the best and amazing science fiction animated shows that I have seen in a long time. It is packed with action and adventure that all ages can enjoy. The Tron Legacy soundtrack they brought back and returns in this show throughout the whole 19 episodes, and it is still spectacular. It is awe-inspiring. It's an 11 out of 10, and I'm just like, I love the Tron soundtrack. I constantly love listening to the Tron soundtrack. I've got it on disc and, of course, digitally. It's just cool to revisit the grid for longer than 90 minutes or so in a movie. The fact that you can sit down and watch a 22 to 30 minute episode of the grid in the Tron universe is just awesome. If you like the Tron movies, you're definitely going to enjoy this show. The show takes place basically after Clue takes over the grid, and it follows the main character Beck, which is supposed to end up becoming the new Tron, and he ends up leading Beck this revolution, this uprising, and begins starting a civil war. The show is basically called Tron Uprising because Tron isn't just a person. Tron is a symbol of a hero. So you actually are able to take this Tron program disc away from Tron's main disc, and Tron can hand it off to the next successor who is supposed to be the next Tron, and he does so with Beck. And the original Tron that we all know from the movies, he ends up training Beck to become the new one. And it was really cool to see that. And it was cool to see the uprising against Clue, and the main head villain in this show which was General Tessler. I enjoyed exploring Argon City and all the characters, whether it be Cutler, Dyson, Maria, Abel, Paige, and many more. To be honest with you guys, I want this show to be made into a movie. I want this to be crammed into a 4-hour movie. There are some episodes that kind of can be thrown away, and it would allow for that to happen. I loved this show, guys. I love this show. This show also explores what happens when a program doesn't have their disc, and basically they end up getting amnesia, which is kind of cool. All the episodes, even the ones with little to no action, they all serve a grand purpose, and they all push the storyline, the characters, the plot. Everything gets pushed forward. Even if there's no action going on, and it's just some dialogue, it's still executed well enough and believable that it's just phenomenal. I love it. I enjoyed the fact that Tron is alive and he ends up working with Beck to make him the next Tron, because Tron is basically dying of a virus. I enjoyed the garage that Beck works at. I enjoyed the fact that General Tessler was the villain. General Tessler as the main villain in this show, he is scary. He's got the brains and he's got the powers similar to Iron Man, because he's got these like mechanical digital arms that like he can melt you, and then he can kind of like become the Mr. Fantastic and stretch him all over the place and punch you and whatnot and shoot lasers out. And General Tessler in general, he tries to make it where he does a lot of research before he makes an opinion or he makes a move on the enemy. I enjoyed how the title of Tron can be handed down from person to person, like I said earlier. Also, I enjoyed the return of the Coliseum of the games, the bike arena. Disc Wars! Disc Wars! Sorry, I'm a Tron nerd at heart, guys. Okay, I love Tron. This show does a great job of blending humor, character growth. The Civil War action is top notch. There's some romance in this show, friendship, and some darkness. The sound design and the color design, 11 out of 10. Several characters, even from the Tron Legacy movie, appear. I don't want to go into any spoilers, but they do appear. This show dives into a lot of more explaining what Tron Legacy set up with the ISOs. So this show explores a little more of the ISO lore. Episode 6, titled Isolated, Paige and Beck, Paige's commander in Clue's army, they end up making a truce in order to survive being abandoned and isolated from both of their sides of the war. This show also does a great job constantly exploring not only the good guy side, but it explores a lot of the bad guy side and their backgrounds, especially the character Paige, Commander Paige. It was interesting to see them spend a whole episode basically on her backstory, from going from just complete jerk, then she goes to learning how to be a doctor, then she ends up getting turned to evil to work for Clue and General Tessler because of lies and deceit. And she ends up working as a soldier in order to kill ISOs. And she works to basically kill Beck, which becomes Tron 2, which basically is called the Renegade. And then you find out that General Tessler lied to the fact that ISOs killed Paige's friends, and you find out that General Tessler is the one that actually killed Paige's friends, which leads to Paige becoming the perfect hunting, killing monster. Episode 17 also was really amazing when Paige is betrayed by General Tessler and the rest of Clue's army. But then, because of a really good plot twist that I don't want to spoil for you guys, it ends up being where Paige ends up hating the Renegade even more. And I like that. There are a few negatives that I do want to discuss, though. Certain characters, like Clue and Flynn, they don't have like normal eyes like you and I do. Their eyes seem to be taken over by their eyebrow, and I don't understand why that happened. Like, I guess it's just a art style or animation style they decided to go with certain characters, but it kind of makes it hard to connect and understand and care about what these certain characters do and say. Sadly, though, I think that this show fits canon-wise with the rest of the movies. I mean, I kind of wanted it to, but the fact that, Tron is alive and he's only working for the good guy side and he's not corrupted by Clue, and instead he's just basically dying from a virus. That doesn't fit in with Tron and Tron Legacy. So, I mean, this is season 1 I'm talking about. So if we got a season 2, maybe this show would end up becoming canonized and would fit in with the movies. But based on what has happened in these 19 episodes, the show isn't canon because of where things get left behind and for certain characters, which is a problem that I have. I kind of want this to be canon, but because of what's happened in the show so far, it can't be canon because of where they leave things off. Interesting, though, to know that there's more than one city. The fact that there's more than one city in the grid is kind of interesting, but we don't get an answer as to how many cities are in the grid. This entire show, also, it feels similar at times to Star Wars 4, 5, and 6, New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, and Return of the Jedi. And because of that, it leads to a lack of originality at some points. Also, it can be kind of confusing to follow towards the beginning of the show character names. Like, you find out that Beck is basically the new Tron, Tron 2, and the Renegade, and a garage mechanic all at once. So if you're not paying attention to character names, it can be kind of confusing. Also, this show brings up the fact that programs can have romantic feelings for each other. I don't understand how and why romantic feelings can exist for programs. Just kind of bizarre. Also, what do programs earn as currency for working jobs like being a mechanic? Like, they're all these programs are constantly working and whatnot, and they're going to bars and paying for drinks and having a good time. The show never explains as to how do programs pay for anything. How do they pay for their rent, fuel, cars? The show never answers those questions. Also, how long is the cycle? Is it an hour? Is it a day? Is it a week? The show has a really hard time explaining that, and the movies don't explain that at all. Like, what the heck is the cycle? The voice person that was used for the review of past events at the beginning of certain episodes just felt really weird and out of place. Episode 7 felt very similar to a plot in The Lord of the Rings where they have this device that can poison your mind and it grants you power. Sound familiar to a ring? just saying. Also, I wish that Tron's main base of operations, hiding out in the Outlands, was explored a little more and a little cooler in design. Basically, you've got this command room with a bunch of screens, and then you've got a fighting training simulator, and that's it. I kind of wish Tron's main base of operations, where he's trying to hide out, was a little more cooler in design. Also, I didn't understand why Beck didn't just decide to quit his garage job and just train to become Tron 2 and get the Uprising going. It really didn't make any sense. Also, there's this villain called the First Renegade, and I didn't care about him. You find out that Tron ended up training this other Renegade person before Beck, and he ends up getting locked away in this prison dimension. And I just didn't care about the Renegade wanting to be getting his revenge on Tron for being locked up. He's supposed to be this villain, and he just becomes more of a pest. So, with that, guys, though, I still had a blast watching this show. I highly encourage you guys, if you love Tron and Tron Legacy and you want to see more of that universe, this show, this season definitely will expand that, and you guys will definitely enjoy it. It's got some problems, but in general, I think you guys will have a blast with the show. With that, guys, I'm giving Tron Uprising Season 1 a 9 out of 10. Thank you guys so much for watching. You guys all have a phenomenal day. This is one of the best animated shows ever, guys, and I can't stress enough. I highly encourage you guys to watch it. You guys have a good one. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.